AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No. The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't.
But
she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why I'm saying.
The panic is real, and AOC is now ducking for cover after BillMaher tore apart her anti-American stance live on air. The takedown was fierce, harsh, unfiltered, and completely relentless, sparking massive backlash for the Congresswoman. Let's be honest, AOC ignited this storm herself. Her woke agenda and divisive rhetoric have spun wildly out of hand. I've got every jaw-dropping clip ready for you. So before we jump into the madness, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss intense moments like this.
Interviews was when AOC was talking to that lady and she asked her to expand.
About Israel-Palestine?
Oh my God.
Well, I believe absolutely in Israel's right to exist.
She just collapsed into herself?
It's literally like a fifth grader that didn't study.
Look at that incident more through just as an incident.
And then they ask you about the subject, or you didn't read the book. Well, you know, it's about Billy and his dog.
What people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, is...
But the crazy thing about that interview is that, so her first comment comes off with, like, total authority.
I am a proponent of a two-state solution.
One little follow-up question. The question's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then you just see her get weaker and weaker.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
But what do you mean by that? She's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. And she literally goes, I'm really not the expert.
Do you think you can expand on that?
I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
Since BillMaher called out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a political phony, the panic has been impossible to ignore. AOC, once seen as the bold progressive with all the solutions, now struggles to answer even the simplest questions about the causes she claims to support. Be it economics, immigration, or climate change, her answers have gone from vague to completely incoherent, fueling critics from all sides. From conservatives to liberals, the backlash keeps growing. Even Joe Rogan weighed in, agreeing with Maher's harsh take and saying AOC is no different from Kamala Harris, just another media product full of slogans lacking depth. What once looked like strong conviction now feels like a hollow act. And the more she talks, the more obvious it gets. The illusion is fading. AOC's polished image is falling apart and the facade is slipping fast. Don't miss this next clip showing AOC in full panic. I'll be back right after.
I think there's something to be said about the government's about to shut down. There's a vote clock that's going down. The exits that are normally open in that building were suddenly closed.
Suddenly.
He
pulled the fire alarm?
So what I'm here to say is that
What I'm
House
here to say
Administration and U.S. Capitol Police and Jamal Bowman are an active, and he's fully participating and saying there was a misunderstanding. But what I do think is...
hold on. He's active and fully participating in saying that there was a misunderstanding?
He was actively...
That is not our language.
No, he was...
What language is that?
She is delightfully stupid.
I know people don't like her. I understand that.
Right.
But I just find her just wonderful. She's so...
That right there is panic on full display. Rambling replies packed with buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing. It's like watching a flaming word salad. If you've been paying attention, this is classic AOC. Every time she's caught off guard or asked something she hasn't memoized, she dives into a mess of jargon-filled nonsense that even her fans can't follow. She throws around phrases like systemic injustice, intersectionality, and marginalized communities like party confetti, hoping big words will cover up the lack of real content. But people are waking up. The act isn't landing the way it used to. Her fiery image is starting to crumble, revealing something shallow underneath. Built more on viral moments than true policy depth. And when she's under pressure, the cracks are impossible to miss. Being loud doesn't make you right. Being emotional doesn't make you effective. And AOC, she's running out of places to hide.
Has called for the investigating and possible impeaching of members of the Supreme Court. Here's what she said.
I believe that we should be considering subpoenas. We should be considering investigations. There also must be impeachment on the table. And the Supreme Court has not been receiving the adequate oversight necessary in order to preserve their own legitimacy.
Where in the Constitution do you find oversight? One branch is the watchdog of the other branch? I don't think so. That's not the way it works.
A lot of people don't like AOC, but I really do love the earnestness of her stupidity. Like, there's something really charming about how hard she's trying. It's like watching your 14-year-old give a speech about something they don't really fully understand. It's like, it's kind of cute. It's adorable in a very, society-destroying sort of way.
This is exactly what I've been saying for weeks. And now BillMaher is finally pushing people to see it clearly. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't nearly as sharp or principled as the media would have you believe. For someone who claims to champion the working class, she sure enjoys mingling at elite red carpet events hosted by the same elite she claims to oppose. You can't wear designer dresses to exclusive galas and then seriously lecture about income inequality. That's not activism, it's theater. So when her name started surfacing as a possible replacement for Kamala Harris, many of us raised an eyebrow, and rightly so. We saw through the act. AOC may be loud, but she lacks real depth. She's great on Twitter, but falls apart under actual scrutiny. If this is what the Democratic Party is banking on for the future, they've got more trouble than they know. And it all came to light thanks to BillMaher's takedown of AOC.
People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No. The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't.
But
she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why.
Wait a second. Even AOC's own supporters seem to be panicking and moving the goalposts faster than light. 1 minute, Don Lemon is proudly claiming that people are calling for AOC to take the lead. But when BillMaher calmly pushes back, pointing out that hardly anyone outside Lemon's bubble actually likes her, Don suddenly changes tune, saying even his own crowd isn't on board. If that's not pure panic and confusion, I don't know what is. It's like watching someone try to empty a sinking ship with a spoon. Honestly, I'm not shocked. Defending an AOC presidential run is like trying to sell sand in the desert, nearly impossible. And for Don Lemon, who's been scrambling for relevance since leaving CNN, this move to boost her just highlights how desperate things have gotten.
For AOC and Donald Trump on the same ticket. Because they're authentic. No, because they're authentic.
I don't think that Don.
I think you're wrong about that.
What people like about people like Trump and Fetterman is because it's irrelevant to her life.
But you don't know her life.
I know that being a gorgeous woman who I wouldn't even know was Hispanic in a city that has 1 million Hispanics and does not treat them badly.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't struggle. That doesn't mean that she was set down.
It implies it.
But that doesn't mean that she was set down in a Hispanic ghetto in the Bronx and had to deal with that growing up, and that she's come from a working class family.
It implies that it implies that in some way she's behind the 8 ball because of that, and it's just not.
Don't be fooled. AOC might have some people convinced, but not BillMaher. He sees straight through the polished narrative. Maher has openly questioned the truth behind her so-called working-class roots and has got a point. Despite the story she tells, AOC didn't exactly grow up in the rough, underprivileged areas she often references. Her father was fairly well off, and she had access to education and opportunities that many struggling Americans can only dream of. Then came the most ridiculous moment of the night, Don Lemon trying to compare AOC's authenticity to Donald Trump's. Seriously? These two couldn't be more different. Say what you want about Trump, but his version of authenticity, loud, raw, and unapologetic, can't be manufactured. AOC's take, though, feels more like a brand strategy than a real identity. It's all image with little substance. Anyway, Maher isn't done exposing the truth.
So
I don't know if she's behind the 8 ball, but I don't think she's as privileged as many people who are in Congress right now.
Is that privileged or not? She was a bartender.
Yeah.
So I was a delivery boy.
But I'm saying sometimes, Bill, you don't agree with Donald Trump's policies.
No.
But that's what the people want.
Some of them.
Whether you like her or not, I don't like what she did with Amazon in New York. But I think AOC is she's a Democratic icon.
Well,
People
she's
love
the
her.
wrong. Sir, if you think that's the direction the country, the Democratic.
I'm not saying the policies that she espouses that's the
Don?
direction, but I'm saying that you have to give the people who are out front speaking for the party, not the people who are.
If you think
she's evolving,
yeah, she's evolving,
and
as we all are,
and she is moving into
right.
She understands the game a little bit more, and if you notice, she is sort of becoming a sort of normal kind of Democrat in many ways.
Yes.
I think she's evolving.
Okay, great.
She's a very smart tactic. She's very smart.
Let's get behind.
Sometimes I honestly can't figure out what Don Lemon is even trying to say. Is he seriously suggesting that the public should be handed any leader they demand, no matter how reckless, unfit, or misguided that choice might be? By that logic, if people suddenly wanted Hitler back, we should just go along with it. That mindset isn't just reckless, it's downright scary. And frankly, it says a lot about where the Democratic Party is right now. This blind, frantic urge to cater to every crowd demand, no matter how extreme or clueless, is exactly why their moral direction feels so lost. It's no longer about values, it's about chasing applause. That's how you end up with party members sympathizing with or outright backing terrorist groups instead of supporting democratic allies like Israel. That's not leadership, it's fear disguised as popularity. And Don Lemon perfectly represents that confusion.
Madam Ranking Member, here we are today. Republicans who have voted consistently against the Violence Against Women Act, who have taken away the right of all women to choose and have control over their own body, who, as women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country, standing there, allowing us to die, now want to pretend today that they care about women. And why? To open up gender and, yes, genital examinations into little girls in this country in the so-called name of attacking trans girls. And to that, today, what we have to say are two words: not today.
I actually got a headache just watching that clip. How does banning biological males from women's sports somehow turn into inspecting young girls' genitals? That's not just illogical, it's intentionally provocative. AOC looks like she's grasping for attention, trying to stay relevant by saying the most shocking thing possible. Let's be honest, no one is calling for some creepy inspection system. The real issue is fairness and protecting women's sports, not violating anyone's privacy. Do we check athletes' genitals to determine their category? Of course not, that's not how it works, and AOC knows it. But truth isn't her concern, it's all about headlines. Her claims aren't based on facts or actual concern for girls, they're pure political theater. And once you strip away the drama, there's nothing real underneath. AOC once again proves she's all soundbite, no substance.
Who loves this bill? Yes, bigoted folks love this bill. Assaulters love this bill. But also, CEOs love this bill. Because Los Angeles is on fire right now. And this is the #1 priority this majority has. Thank you, and I yield back.